I'd like you to imagine something for a second.
Okay.
I'd like you to imagine that you have a person in your life who you like talking to non-stop about things that interest you. Like movies.
Okay.
Can you picture that person?
Yes.
Who is it?
Looking at myself in the mirror.
Fan-fucking-tastic. All right. Good start. Let's talk about it. What's our seat number? So, who are you?
I am Johnny Gross.
And I am Simon Gross. Johnny is a filmmaker.
I am, and Sai is a game designer.
Who the fuck knows what I am? I'm a game designer, 3D artist, VFX artist once, and not much else.
So you want to tell everybody, our two listeners, if we're lucky, what exactly
Hi,
we're
Mum
doing
and Dad.
here?
Huh?
Yeah. What are we doing here exactly?
Johnny and I like films, and we've been watching films together and apart for most of our lives. I
would say my film thing is less of a like and more of a unhealthy obsession.
Yeah, absolutely. A fetish, if you will.
Yeah.
Could be classified as such. And basically what we're going to do here is a little podcast for you. And we're going to talk about some films and a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes, some VFX stuff if VFX come up in the movie, but mostly we're going to be talking trash about shit that people who are better than us can do. Exactly. And we probably can't, because it's very easy to do that from behind your fat fucking gut behind a microphone.
Indeed. A little bit of trivia.
About what film?
Well, today we're going to be talking about a movie that... Well,
let me just sum up the movie for you with one word, okay? Camp.
Okay. This is why you need a pop filter.
Next time, bring one.
I shall. If anybody wants a hint, you probably won't know what the hell I'm talking about. But Slam Evil is the tagline.
Slam Evil is the
movie.
tagline.
Yes.
Is this something I have to guess? Or it's the tagline of this movie?
It's the tagline of this movie.
I thought what we were doing... That's the tagline of this movie?
That's
Slam
the tagline
Evil?
of this movie, Slam Evil. If you would like to flip...
Let me see a
flip
second.
the
Hang on a
Blu-ray
minute.
box
this
around.
Is rubbish. Where is that?
It on the top.
Fucking hell.
It was on all the posters.
What's that supposed to mean, though? Because that's got nothing to do with the movie. So off the top of my head, because I thought we were playing a game where... I have to guess the tagline.
So we will.
Of the film.
This will be the very first tagline that we mention on the podcast. But as you can see, they usually don't bear any resemblance to anything that goes on in the movie.
I would have guessed like something to do with the Hulk or something like Slam Evil.
Slam Evil.
I don't even know. All right, but that's not the movie that we're talking about today.
No,
the movie we're talking about today is beloved by not many.
Yes.
It is with its among its peers.
It's got its cult. It's got its fans.
It does.
Think. Yeah,
but
yeah.
I wouldn't count them in the many.
Well,
but there's an interesting thing about this, right? Is that there are 3 movies that I remember very fondly that all deal with that sort of same era
around the same time
period.
Released as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is one of them, but it's on the lower scale, like compared to the other 2 movies. So the other 2 movies being
The Shadow,
yeah, and
The Rocketeer.
So those aren't the movies. We're not going to be talking about that today.
Yes,
but the movie we're going to watch today is
the 1996 classic starring Billy Zane, The Phantom.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So, okay, we haven't watched the movie yet. We're not going to do this every time. Sometimes we're going to watch the movie apart. We're going to make notes. We're going to come together and do the podcast. And
sometimes we'll just come up with a movie that we've seen many, many times and just talk about it.
Yeah, no need to rewatch Ghostbusters, I think.
Yeah,
or
The Mask of Zorro.
Right.
We might want to.
We have to watch that just because I really want to watch that film again. But we'll talk about the connection to Mask of Zorro. So let me ask you, what do you remember about this film? Because I remember fragments, but very clearly. I
Okay.
haven't seen this since, I'm going to say, I was 13, 14.
So I have never owned this before. This is my first time owning this movie. This is the recent Blu-ray release. Basically, I remember having it recorded off TV. I remember our mum.
Oh, we're brothers, by the way.
We're brothers, yes.
This is going well, I think.
She used to disparage my taste occasionally. She used to hate the fact that I used to watch things over and over and over again. It used to drive her insane. And this was one of those movies that she was like, "Oh, what a load of rubbish."
Oh, Jonathan,
What a load of rubbish. So yeah. And I don't think I watched it that many times, but I remember enjoying it when I did. It's like just fun.
Do you remember how old you were when you last saw this?
No.
Give me
I
a
don't.
guess.
It must have been in England, because the last time I saw it was on
fuck
VHS.
I remember seeing it here. But
we emigrated to Israel. I emigrated to Israel in 2002. You in 2003.
mm-hmm.
So when I say last time I saw it was in
a
England,
long time ago.
yeah, we're talking like upwards of 20 years.
So I remember just scenes and quotes. I remember the thing where he's like he comes out of the elevator and he like dramatically puts the guns in his holster. You're gonna see it. It's like, it's
Okay.
so fucking camp. The thing I have to say about it is that Billy Zane, not only did he get into incredible shape for this film, but he fucking goes for it. Like, I'm gonna be in hysterics. Could you give us, maybe just before we start watching the movie, for those who aren't familiar with The Phantom, could you perhaps give us a bit of a synopsis about what it's about from what you can remember?
From what I can remember. So the thing is, I remember there was a long segment in the jungle at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Great synopsis so far.
Yeah, no, I remember it being extremely cheesy,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember being somewhat relieved when they get to New York. It's New York, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's all like,
I think.
he's all like, he's not in his like purple leotard anymore. He's all suave in a suit.
He looks like Billy Zane.
He's one of the few actors that can really pull off that kind of like, he had the kind of like Alec Baldwin, who also starred in The Shadow, which was another one of the...
He was not wearing a leotard in The Shadow. I've just recently watched a trailer for this film to get in the mood for it. He does not pull this off. I don't think anybody
that's not what I'm
pulls
talking
this
about
off.
him pulling off. I'm talking about him pulling off because Billy Zane is one of those people that's like, he's really a character actor. And he turns up in all sorts of things. You might remember him as the bad guy in Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
The
bad guy in
yes,
Titanic.
the bad guy in Titanic.
He played a massive iceberg.
Yes, indeed. He is the chief antagonist.
Just got an image in my head of Billy Zane in a massive iceberg outfit.
I hope you enjoy your time together. Crash. Yeah. No. So. And he also turned up in random things. I don't know. I can't even remember off the top of my head. I should have his IMDb page open in front of me, and I will after the movie. But yeah, and Alec Baldwin also, like, he had that sort of matinee idol kind of feel to him.
Sure.
And he also and later on in life he got a little bit heavy, and he went off and did like these wonderful character parts, like for example,
chest.
Yes, indeed. He is also the bad guy in the movie The Cooler. Played a gangster called Shelley, like completely against type, absolutely brilliant. He's also a fantastic comedian, and I felt like Billy Zane was also able to sort of slip into those different skins. And I think this is a very different kind of movie for him.
Right.
I don't remember him doing this kind of role.
I think this sort of movie would be different for anyone. I feel like everyone in this movie, you look at them and you go, "This is an interesting choice."
Yeah.
See, I'm sort of like downplaying, because I know that where I am now in life, I'm not going to enjoy this nearly as much as I did when I was a teenager. But I'm willing to be surprised. Like, I'm just going to go at, like, if this is anywhere near The Rocketeer or The Shadow, I'll be happy.
I highly doubt it.
It won't be. It's not.
But like, look, I remember Kristy Swanson. Who wouldn't?
Sorry, for those listening, like there's people watching, that was visual as a gag. Why did you laugh?
Why did I laugh?
Because you just said, I mean, who wouldn't? And I was in the middle of drinking and I just like sniffed out my drink. So fantastic.
Okay then. So
painting a picture for you.
Yeah, so Kristy Swanson, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and she also turned up in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, if I remember correctly.
She did?
Yeah.
As?
She was the student who spoke up in what's his name, the teacher's class, the Bueller.
Mm-hmm.
So she spoke up and said that he's sick or something like that. I can't remember. I don't know. I've seen that movie so many times, now I've had a blank.
I would think that tiny little role wouldn't stick in your mind, but this is the perfect opener for a podcast to introduce you to what you're about to get into. Is those tiny fragments of trivia that you would think, wow, who would know this? Johnny knows this.
But I had a major crush on her, so you know, and many others.
I mean, there are other women in this. Well, there's another woman in this movie who is like crushable, crush-onable. I wouldn't say crushable. I don't crush
honorable.
women.
Is that like a femme fatale Bond girl?
I suppose so. Yeah. My name's Crush. Honorable.
Well, of course you are.
Yeah. So, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh, Catherine Zeta-Jones is in this. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I could tell from the way that I'm going. Another woman's in this.
That's another Mask of Zorro connection.
Oh my god.
We didn't talk about the first one, which is that the teaser trailer of the Mask of Zorro that we watched on a loop has the Phantom music in it.
Yeah, and we love the Phantom music.
Yeah,
mostly because it just appeared in that trailer.
Right,
and that was epic.
Yeah, and then it segues into that scene from Drop Zone that I really enjoy.
I'm so excited to watch this now. Should we go watch it?
Yeah, we should go watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
We should mention though Treat Williams.
Oh yeah.
So that I remember very 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 clearly as his
as the bad guy.
Him chewing the scenery
Xander
mercilessly.
Such an amazing name for a villain.
Xander
and he
Drax.
plays it. It's so hammy. Like he is chewing it up.
Oh, and I remember his death scene. If you know, that's something that's going to stick in your mind.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that one.
All right, let's go watch the movie.
All right, roll it. So that was something.
Yeah, we've watched the movie.
Can you, just because we didn't do it before, can you tell people what the film's about?
Oh god, I just watched it and I
don't even know how to do this. I don't know how to synopsisize this film.
So my mum was right, but that doesn't make her right.
No, because the thing is that I remember a lot of times that I'd be watching anything and it would be, oh, what rubbish are you watching now? It's not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be rubbish.
I think I enjoyed it as a kid.
I enjoyed it I
colourful.
Definitely enjoyed this as a kid, but there's something about... First of all, we're watching it on Blu-ray, which reveals everything.
Everything. The thing that I noticed most was Billy Zane's stuntmen.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and
there were so many.
The stunt women.
Oh, it's like he lied on his CV. Like they asked him, like, "Can you ride a horse?" And he's like, "Yep, I could do that." And then every single shot of a horse is a stuntman.
It's just so strange to me how much of that was not caught by
or they just
anyone.
Didn't bother.
Well, they didn't care. Yeah, it feels like a lot. Here's the thing, right? So I'll try and do it because it seems like both of us are having trouble.
I think we're a little bit shell shocked.
Yeah. So The Phantom is a film. It's a superhero movie in quotes about a mantle that is passed down from father to son for about 400 years. Cut to 1939, was it?
Think so, yeah.
I mean, they only had it all over the fucking movie. Like when they go into the museum,
yes.
Right? It's like, in case you needed to know what this set is that you're looking at, it's a museum in 1939.
Indeed.
And the main character, played by Billy Zane, is Kit Walker, who is the current incarnation or the current person who's wearing the Phantom outfit. Now, talk a little bit about the outfit. Can you
Oh.
describe it? Paint me a picture. Paint everyone a picture. What does he
So the
look
thing is, I remember the old Spider-Man TV series,
Yeah.
like the from the 70s with
Yeah.
Nicholas Hammond,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with the twangy, 70s music, and him like,
Okay.
you know, and the crazy stuntman climbing up the side of the building
Sure.
and whatever. And I remember finding that costume absolutely hilarious.
Right.
There's not much difference nowadays in the costume. I think it's more about how it's shot, how it's cut together, how the stuntman or actor wears it.
Right. I was just gonna say, there's something about him. He seems very uncomfortable.
He's
like
extremely awkward.
In all scenes where he's not wearing the suit, he's very superhero-y.
Yeah, he's got that sort of matinee idol. This is what I was talking about before, is that like he's never really been a leading man, but this is the only movie where he sort of displays those chops. And he's got like a very sort of matinee idol kind of way about him. He's very charming. He's got the good looks. I even said to Cy during the movie, maybe he could be like, he could have been a Superman if they had made a Superman movie in the 90s.
So there's more to the synopsis, right? So he's wearing this skin tight purple spandex,
Kind of see-through. It's as if it's made out of
almost
a few
netting.
layers of tights.
Right, exactly. Like I said to Johnny at the beginning of the movie, I was like, are you noticing this is slightly see-through? Like,
So
I
the
could
thing is,
see
every
his
time
skin.
you could see his butt, like every time he's sort of like bent over,
He's wearing underpants.
he's
though.
wearing underpants, but it looks
purple
underpantsy.
underpants. He's wearing purple underpants.
Right, and it looks like a woman wearing panties with tights over them, basically.
But with Billy Zane's
With
buttocks.
Billy Zane's butt, yeah,
So-
and obviously purple.
So he's wearing this skin tight purple thing.
Oh, also
and
his nipples are a featured
nipples
character
all the time
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the movie, just like
Yeah, he must have been very cold throughout.
or aroused. Anyway, so he's
What was it?
protecting-
What was it we came up with? Spandection.
Spandection, yeah, an erection in spandex. Because I don't know, he's kissing,
Kristy Swanson.
Kristy Swanson, and he's hanging out with Catherine Zeta-Jones. So excuse my spandection. Anyway, so stop getting me off track because this is only supposed to take
right.
30 seconds.
Okay.
So you keep derailing this. So right, Billy Zane's wearing spandex and he's got an erection and his nipples are showing. He's wearing unterpantsy, and he's protecting these jungle artifacts and skulls and people and whatnot. And these bad guys come in, one of them representing a pirate brotherhood of some kind, who are
Randomly.
like we don't understand.
And he's
his
also dressed
connection to
like evil Indiana Jones for some reason.
yeah, he's Dexter's
James
dad.
Remar,
Yeah. And he's really good at Dexter, right?
Right.
Like, there's no line that he delivers in this film, and I'm not going.
He's generally very threatening,
Yeah.
and in this movie, it
Not a
could
bit.
be the direction, it could be the writing. I don't know.
I think so. This is what I was saying to Shosh because my wife was watching the movie with us when we started, and she made how far in did she make it? 10 minutes?
No, a
15
little
minutes?
more than that.
Like 20 minutes? Like she tried.
She left before New York.
Yeah. So, yeah, she was like pulling it to pieces from moment one, and I was like at some point like just trying. No, stop. I wanna try and enjoy this, but it was just like even I couldn't deny how bad it was.
Yeah,
Like,
but you have to admit there's a certain nostalgia factor going on here.
yeah,
Not
because
just
we watched it when we were kids, and she's coming to it fresh, and she's
Right.
like, "Why do you like this?" And I understand that, but
But
anyway,
not just like we watched it as kids, but also the kind of movie
Kind
that
of
it
movie, yeah.
represents, and the era that it represents.
So I want to talk about that in a minute, but just to finish the synopsis,
The synopsis.
is that there's like these three skulls, which towards the end of the movie are revealed to be four.
Yes.
And it's not mentioned anywhere else in the film until that last like 20 minutes. I checked the timestamp where that happens. And they're like, the movie's very exposition heavy, but they keep repeating the same things. Anyway, there's this bad guy called Xander Drax.
Xander Drax.
Xander
Begins
Drax.
with an X, ends with an X.
So amazing. And he's trying to get his hands on these skulls, and it feels like he only just learned about them, but even at the end of the movie when he picks them up and puts them together. He's like, at last. Like, he's been searching for... So it's really not clear what the fuck's going on. He's a mobster. He's an occultist. Who knows what the hell he is.
He's a Lex Luthor type.
Yeah, it's like really... It's not clear. And that's basically the gist of the
it's funny
movie.
that you say that it's taken us so long to get through the synopsis, because there's very, like, and it's exposition heavy, but it's very light on plot.
It's got... No, so here's the thing. It's got very few moving parts, but they seem to be driving those moving parts forward with I've just written here in my notes. Listen, look at this. Exposition. And then here, so much exposition. And then underneath that, more exposition. And then...
Mr. Drax, exposition,
fourth skull, right? And yeah, there was that scene where like one of the characters is like talking to Mr. Drax and he goes, "But Mr. Drax," and I turned to you and I went, exposition, because that's what he's fucking doing all the way through the movie. So I have a question for you right off the bat at the beginning of the movie, right? They go into the bad guys cross a rope bridge. They get to the cave.
Temple of Doom rope bridge.
Very badly done. There's a skull in there that they're looking for. They're not quite sure what they're looking for. And one of the bad guys, one of the henchmen, his name is Styles. He gets killed by a skeleton.
Yes.
What? Can you like... I want to do this thing on this podcast where I'm just going to throw these things out to you, and I just want you to justify it within the world of the movie, like how it happened.
Okay, so you're talking to the wrong person about the wrong movie.
Right.
Because there is no justification here. I honestly don't think...
It's a skeleton prop that just puts its arms around...
Because the mythology isn't really very well thought out or mapped out, and we're talking about something it's based on a comic book, an existing
I don't know
property.
about the comic book story at all.
I don't know about the comic book story either. So the point is that the movie that's based on the comic book should be giving you all of that information.
But it feels like they just did it in a very... Like, they're not... Look, I was saying to Shosh when we started this, right? She's like, why is it so bad? Why is the acting so bad? And I said... Like, just trying to justify it in some way. Like, this is before Hollywood knew how to make superhero movies, right?
Right.
What would you say is, like, the first one that didn't feel super camp? Like, I'd say even X-Men feels super camp. Maybe X2?
Okay,
but,
so...
like, there's other ones, I'm sure.
So this is the thing. The first superhero property, I think, that got successfully made into a movie was Superman.
Right.
And then, cut to... several, like a couple of bad Superman sequels and some imitators and whatever, and you end up with Batman 89, which is a complete 180 from Superman.
Yeah.
And
this is 96, by the way, Phantom.
This is 96. Okay, so 89, you're talking about 7 years later.
So maybe what I just said is absolute bullshit, because Batman 89 is
a great movie.
It's fantastic.
However, the thing about Batman 89 is that it's half a Tim Burton movie, and then Batman Returns comes in 3 years later and is a completely Tim Burton movie. Mm-hmm. That he submerges all of that comic booky stuff into his like world, into his sensibilities,
into his creepy mind.
Yeah. But then in the meantime, you've got movies like The Rocketeer and The Shadow that came out in '94, and Dick Tracy as well. Also... So
Dick Tracy, I think if we were to watch it, we'd be pointing out a lot of
I watched
problems.
it not long ago, actually.
Does it live up to...
It's actually, like, there are certain parts of it that are surprisingly dull for a movie that is primarily built up of comic book panels and primary colors.
Okay.
But there are also some moments that are really great in it. And the funny thing is that Madonna made quite a good femme fatale.
Right.
And she's actually quite good in it. Which is weird to think that, because she's not a great actress.
No?
No.
Okay.
I mean, possibly like up to a certain point. I don't remember A League of Their Own, but I don't remember her annoying me in it. But then you come to things like Die Another Day, and she has like a 30-second cameo, and you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Absolutely.
Get her off my screen.
I like to keep my tip up.
Oh dear Lord.
Dear. So I have another question about the beginning of the movie, right? So the natives start banging on drums when they realize that the skull is found and it's been threatened and taken and all of that.
Right.
And then there's just an overly long compilation of animals in the jungle reacting to it and losing their shit. And I'm like,
circle.
I was just like very confused about like, are they afraid of the shadow? Are they afraid of the drums? Like, this is interesting. The Phantom. Just the movie I wish I'd been watching. And so, like, there's just something about the production values of this movie that are just not as good as The Rocketeer and The Shadow.
The funny thing is, though, that if you look at The Shadow and you look at it on Blu-ray specifically, there are some extended sets in that movie. For example, the bridge scene.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It looks like a backdrop, and both sides are exactly the same backdrop. So when they reverse the camera angle, they're just shooting to the same backdrop.
Right.
You know, there are like, I don't think a lot of it was shot on location. This movie looked like, you know, a lot of it was shot on location, possibly in Hawaii, maybe not in the jungles of See,
that's how much we care about it, is that we're remembering the locations.
Yeah.
This movie features New York.
Yeah. But it's quite nicely shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed the opening sequence. I thought that was very well done.
You did?
Yeah. I mean, okay. First of all, you got the little phantom segment, which is only like 30 seconds. It's very short.
You mean the opening prologue?
The opening prologue. Okay. Yeah. They should have given a little bit more time to that.
If they had done that and given it some more time, they wouldn't have had to spread their exposition all the way throughout every single scene. Right.
But then you've got like for like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Perhaps until the skeleton throttles the guy. You know, you've got like the makings of an Indiana Jonesy type adventure. And then Billy Zane turns up in his awkward costume.
So I do want to say something good about Billy Zane that I wrote in my notes, like at the beginning of the movie.
Because we do like Billy Zane. I mean, I like Billy Zane.
I don't like Billy Zane.
You don't like Billy Zane?
The things I have seen him in make me go, oh, that's why he's not in more stuff. But that's not like, I don't think he's a bad actor. I think in this movie, he is oozing that kind, when he's not in the costume, that kind of charm and ruggedly whatever. But I want to say, he's in great fucking shape.
Oh, yeah.
And when he throws a punch, there's like a scene where he jumps into the truck at the beginning and he just nuts that guy in the face. Right? There's like, do you remember you were talking to me about Roger Moore in, no, what is it called?
What?
A View to a Kill.
Yes,
right?
Okay.
And you were saying, at this point, I don't believe that Roger Moore can punch a guy in the face and not get out of breath. Right? And I'm like, if you're and you were like, but Daniel Craig in Casino Royale, you believe he can fucking shred a guy into pieces. Right? So, like, that's something really important to me. Like, when I watch, like, superhero movies, like, I don't know if you've ever seen the behind the scenes of, like, Superman, where he's working out in the gym. Yeah. And you're seeing him, like, he's actually putting in the work. Like, now with superhero movies, that's like a must. Like, the actor has to be shredded. Chris Hemsworth. Like,
yeah, but at the same time, like, if you look at Zod's suit, if you look at Michael Shannon's suit, it's padded out, and it's
CG most of it.
Well, no, I mean, like, you can see him, like, in the behind the scenes footage on set, like, that he's got that he's been working out and he's been lifting and really trying to build himself up, but he's much more slight than Henry Cavill, and they had to build him up to make him match up. And the thing is that that a lot of those superhero suits, even if the actor's been like really pumping it up, you know, like the Batman suit as well, you know, it's never going to be like nylon.
Right,
like you know,
netting,
like the yes, netting. like the material of my pop filter, you know, like,
right?
It's
which is exactly, if you want to know what the Phantom looks like without actually going it, just if you've ever seen a pop filter that goes over a microphone, imagine that stretched over Billy Zane's body with his nipples poking through it, like
yeah. And also there was a lot of like you know when you have like a checkered shirt. On a TV screen and it starts to like go nuts
and it makes your eyes go fizzy.
Yeah, so that material was going a little bit nuts on that. The Blu-ray wasn't resolving it very well.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I hope you can answer this one.
Oh dear.
is a horse faster than a plane?
So you asked me that while we were watching the movie, and my response was, Goldeneye was made the year before. Is a falling man faster than a falling plane?
Well, I mean, the answer to that by everybody who watches that movie is, huh? Right?
Right.
No.
But also same director. Also another crime of cinema is the horse in The Legend of Zorro jumping on the moving train.
Right.
So is a horse faster than a moving train?
So here's the thing. I think that kind of suspension of disbelief is only possible when you aren't selling how far the distance is, right? Like they were doing. They were fucking driving this home. So what happens is that the Phantom rescues, is it Kirsty or Kristy Swanson? Kristy Swanson, right? He rescues her. He gets her in a plane. He takes off in the plane. The bad guys, they shoot it. The oil's coming out of the fuel tank. He doesn't notice that, right? Until obviously the plane goes, and it's like, oh my god, we're out of fuel. We'll have to take her down, right? That's what he says, right?
Right.
Quote. And sort of like they are selling just how far away his horse is, where he left it, which is very realistic. He left his horse there. It wouldn't have just followed him. But then what they do is his wolf, leaves the place way after he's taken off in the airplane, and the wolf meets the horse, and then there's a moment where the horse and the wolf are having some kind of animal conversation. The horse nods its head up and down, right?
It's like, we gotta save Kit, let's go!
You got it, Musty, right? Like, it's like very, very strange. And like, Shosh was just dying. Like, she was like, yeah, this is where I'm out, right?
Right.
And so like...
That's where she's out. Not from the murderous corpse.
No, not at all. No, she was like, okay, right, yeah, you know, Sai said it was going to be cringe. So, yeah. Okay. So, like, the horse starts running, and they're going down in a plane, and then the horse is still running, and it's still in, like, a foresty area, but they're, like, in an open sort of area. Right. There are trees. And then this whole sequence culminates in the Phantom jumping out of the plane and onto, the horse, which is somehow magically teleported there at top speed. And I think that, like, you know, the dog's like tried to keep up and has sort of given up and had a fag in the corner, you know, like, oh, fucking hell. And okay,
we should point out, just for our American listeners, that we Brits
he's not having a fag in the corner. He's having a smoke, and he's smoking.
It's smoking. A fag is a cigarette.
Sorry, thank you for pointing that out. That could have easily been misconstrued.
Yes.
And yeah, so like it culminates in this thing in Kristy Swanson's stunt woman, like, smiling at the camera as she goes by, like, full face, like, the hair is, like, blown back from her face. I'm not the actress who was playing this character a minute ago. And then, you know, she jumps onto the horse behind him, and I'm just like, is a horse faster than a plane? And I didn't ask that question about Pierce Brosnan jumping off a motorbike and landing it. Like, obviously, that doesn't make sense, but there's something about the way that it's edited and something about the way that it's presented to you that it's like, this is possible, even though you know it's not. There's a lot of things that you know are not.
Right.
So yeah.
So I could see what they were trying to do there, like from the very beginning, where, you know, you have there's the truck on the rope bridge, and it's and the rope bridge is collapsing, it's turning upside down and whatever. They're trying to do the those 40s serials with the cliffhangers and all that kind of stuff. They were that was the way the movie was built. I think if they would have had a little bit more of that and a little bit less of the expositional scenes, that exposition. They really could have been cut.
My name is Basil Exposition.
Basil Exposition from British Intelligence. Yes.
Off you fuck.
Yes, indeed.
So there's a lot of janky green screen and
janky green screen.
The bullet hits and ricochets. Like, put a fucking squib inside a tree. Like, chip away a bit of the tree. Put a squib in there. Put that bit of the tree back and blow up the squib. That'll make. Why do they have to composite these bad-looking bullets? Sorry,
this is the thing. The compositing in the 90s was literally laying film on top of film.
Yeah.
So you can see the color shift.
Yeah.
And you can see the details start to wash out, and the grain start to wash out.
Absolutely. It's not like today where basically, this is like VFX corner, right? Where I'm gonna complain about the VFX.
VFX corner.
I mean, we're gonna dip in and out of the corner, but like what I'm saying is that there's like, oh, the thing has fallen off my mic. Boink.
Boink.
So basically, yeah, compositing was basically the act of laying effects and footage, like film strips with effects on them on top of the original film strips,
right.
and merging it with the film, which obviously was very, very hard work, and it was something that you had to be amazing at, and you had to make sure that you got it right, because once you screwed it up, that was it, you're done. You only have this,
right.
And so now what we have is computers that you have your footage and it's safe on like its own layer, and you have other layers of like the different composites, and the act of compositing is basically taking an effects shot and putting it on top of the footage of the movie and blending it in so that it looks seamless.
See, nowadays, Twitter can erupt about Sonic the Hedgehog not looking exactly the way the fans wanted them to look, and they could just change that.
They were
out.
right. There were so many
Absolutely.
fucking problems.
Yes,
with
there
that.
were issues with
but
it.
That's not compositing. That's just
no.
poor
but
character design.
What I'm saying is that in the 90s, if they didn't like the way that a CG character looked,
that was it.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, look at Blob in Lost in Space.
Oh my lord! Yeah.
And that was only a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Damn.
So there's like some janky effects in this movie, but like I wasn't look. There's janky effects in The Rocketeer, and there's janky effects in The Shadow. Not as much.
But
though.
I think that The Rocketeer is on the level of like if you look at Raiders of the Lost Ark,
mm-hmm.
or you look at Last Crusade, like there's the moment where the tank goes over the edge of the cliff,
mm-hmm.
and that's a matte painting.
Yeah,
and it doesn't look amazing. But I've never heard anybody say, wow, Last Crusade is a shit film because it's got terrible special effects.
No one's going to...
Right, but I'm saying that you have to have everything else to back it up in order to...
exactly.
A
film
and the
has
Rocketeer,
to hold up.
The Rocketeer has the kind of effects that it has because that was what was available at the time.
No, but there's something... So this is what I actually wanted to talk about, like with the effects, is that the Rocketeer, right, has some really... good ingenuity and like trying to like they used a puppet on a blue screen, and they were doing like stop motion to animate it, and what they managed to do... I
wish there would have been some special features on that Blu-ray, because that behind the scenes footage is amazing.
It really is. And by the way, if you guys want to watch The Rocketeer, we highly recommend it.
Yeah,
but like
I'd also recommend watching The Phantom if you want to listen to this podcast, because very possibly it's going to be incredibly boring to you if you don't know what we're talking about.
Watch The Phantom and then we'll start the podcast again. So
and write in and tell us how far you got into it before you gave up.
How can they get in touch with us, Jonathan?
I will post my email address somewhere.
Okay. We'll have that sorted out by next episode, probably. So what I want to say about that is that there's like a lot of good things happening and smart decisions being made by the people who are behind the VFX of The Rocketeer, and like the compositing may not hold up on Blu-ray and it may not be as good, but they are selling momentum and movement. And The Rocketeer is a guy who has a rocket pack strapped to his back, and with Superman in 78, yeah. So they had Christopher Reeves on a blue screen with backwards projection. Sometimes there were some shots like this and some shots like that. And not backwards projection. It's just front projection.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? VFX artist, get out. And like they couldn't sell his speed and momentum, but in The Rocketeer there are some shots where he's like barreling towards the airplane at top speed. We don't need to talk about that movie. I'm sure we'll do our own episode about that.
No, but also I think there's a big difference, and this is where you can see what if people want to know what the director does, what the editor does, what the choreographer does, for God's sake, because the choreography in The Phantom is lacking, to be fair.
Say what you want to say.
It's shit.
It's a bit rubbish.
It's shit. No, it's not a bit rubbish. It's shit.
It's shit.
It's like
it makes you want to fall over and puke.
No, because there are some like camera moves and things like that are very slick, and then suddenly it looks like everybody's drunk.
Yeah.
They're throwing drunken punches, and and then there's this one moment where it looks like Catherine Zeta-Jones went the wrong way a second, and then she sort of turns around and comes back. She was supposed to be pushed out the way, right?
Yeah, but it looks like she's trying to run in a direction, and then goes, oh, no, not that way.
So there you go. You've got the choreographer did a certain job, and and if the editor didn't like that job, it's his job to cut it, to cut it before.
Yeah, some shots go on way longer than they need to.
To tighten it up just a little bit.
To illustrate this point, there's a scene where one of the mobsters who's with Xander Drax, he double crosses him, crisscross, and he points his gun at the pirate, which we haven't even gotten to the fucking pirates yet. He's like, and they say something in, I don't want to make a mistake. What language are they talking? Sing Brotherhood language. Wow.
He says that it's old pirate speak.
Right, okay, so they're talking in old pirate speak. What the fuck? Why did I even worry that they were going to have a language?
There's also that moment where something happens, like somebody gets caught on a rope or something like that. Yeah, okay, so there's a trap laid for two of the bad guys at the beginning of the movie. Yeah. And it's like one of those things where, you step into a trap and a rope tightens around your leg and you get pulled up. Yeah. So apparently the people that were pulling them up are called the rope people.
Brilliant.
The rope people. I mean, okay, Jeffrey Boehm is a good writer. Okay.
For those who don't know who he is, what has he written?
So he wrote the movie Inner Space. And there's also movie. Directed by Joe Dante. There's a Joe Dante connection to this movie as well.
All right.
Yeah. So he wrote Inner Space. He wrote Lethal Weapon 2 with Shane Black. He wrote Lethal Weapon 3. I think he also co-wrote Last Crusade, or possibly wrote that by himself. I'm not sure. I think he wrote it by himself, actually. He's not a bad writer by any means. My question is, what the fuck happened? But then, I also look at director Simon Windsor. And the only movie, I looked at his filmography, the only movie that I've ever seen of his is a movie called Harlequin that was made in the 80s that I remember I was in boarding school. My house mistress, for some reason, was obsessed.
What is a house mistress? For those who don't know British boarding schools.
Well, I mean, when you're at home, your mum takes care of you. When you're in boarding school, you're like, what is it, 40 boys in a dorm, and you're taken care of by a house mistress and a housemaster.
What do you mean taken care of?
Well, taken care of in the same way that your mother would take care of you, dirty bastard.
Bearing in mind, your mother is my mother, so that was also a self-burn there, so self-5.
I have no idea what just happened. I'm going to gloss over that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's not send this to our parents.
Yeah, I was imagining that was going to be the case anyway, because we can't be trusted.
Not, yeah.
So yeah.
You mean I can't be trusted?
So the movie Harlequin with Robert Powell is about a guy who is, has magic powers and whatever. And that's about all I remember of it, apart from the fact that it was an Australian movie, I think. I think he's an Australian director, and it's very, I don't know, bland.
Okay.
Bleak, kind of, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember it very well. I just remember, I saw that on his filmography, and I thought, that's a bit of an about turn, because, it's very much not the same kind of movie in any way, shape, or form, and that's fine. A director can sort of dip his toe.
Do different things.
Yeah, but sometimes you see a director like George Miller, who directed Mad Max, and he'll direct Babe Pig in the City, and you're like, what now? Like, where did that come from?
Babe Pig in the City. If that had been like anything like Mad Max, that would have been a movie I would have watched with like animals taking out guns and putting paint on their faces and like sort of getting into like tricked out cars with like spikes coming out. Brilliant.
I'd watch it. Make it happen.
I'd watch it. Let's do it. So about Catherine Zeta.
Right. This was before her breakout. Her breakout was The Mask of Zorro, I believe, right?
I have to bring up the necrophilia line, because this freaked me out a bit. I didn't expect it. It sort of made me do a double take. So, Kit Walker, the Phantom,
right?
Billy Zane, has been captured by Xander Drax, right? Starts with an X and ends with an X.
Right.
Right? And they say something about, okay, well, kill this guy, right? And she throws out a line, that nobody blinks at, which is, leave the body for me when you're done. And I sort of was like, what? Did you hear that? And you were like, what? And I said, did you hear what's with the necrophilia? Like, now...
I might have been making notes about whatever just happened before that.
I'm so confused by it. Like, I don't know. There's some shoddy acting in this movie.
Really
but like,
shoddy acting.
But right after that scene is... Okay, so Kit escapes. Right. The Phantom escapes. Which, by the way, in our pre-bit, before watching the movie, I said there are a few scenes that I remember. One of them was him coming out of the elevator with the guns and putting them in... Very dramatically putting them back in the holsters. And I was like... If that happens now, then the rest of the things I remember are going to happen too. And it happens exactly as I remember it. It's so bad.
So again, you have to blame the director, the choreographer, and the editor for all of that shit. Like, I mean...
Some of it's on the actor, right? I mean...
Some of it's on the actor, but I think...
He has to be comfortable in the costume, and if he's not... He doesn't look comfortable or confident, and he doesn't look like he can sell it. And there are certain things that he really does sell, but there are things like... There's the scene
I think the costume is to blame for a lot of that stuff, because in general it's very off-putting. And you wanted to talk about X-Men earlier,
yeah, exactly.
That they completely changed the costumes because
but that's what they say in the movie. Is he says like, you know, you guys go out in these outfits, and he's like, well, what do you prefer, yellow spandex?
Right.
Because it's almost like a nod to the fact that you have to adapt. And this is also about the writing as well. Like, I imagine that he was, you know, sitting in a room with the comic books. He had, like, some of them, and he's like, wow, this dialogue's really cheesy. I'm going to put this in. And it's like, well, you need to adapt the feeling of these stories, but not necessarily... It won't translate well to the screen. So I think that that's part of what makes X-Men and X-Men 2 so good, is how they've adapted these characters for, like, a big screen outing,
or it was like written by committee as well, because you don't know
how
much
interference was put in.
Because there's a little bit of behind the scenes trivia here that's very strange and interesting.
Okay,
The Phantom, when it was originally pitched, was originally going to be directed by Sergio Leone. No.
Who is Sergio Leone?
Sergio Leone is the Italian director of spaghetti westerns. Once Upon a Time in the West.
Okay, I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't...
By movie, not by name.
I mean, I can understand the connection because there are some Western elements in it. Mm-hmm. Not saying that that every director has to stick to his genre, but like you have to kind of think like, what would X find interesting about this material? Especially since at the time it wasn't cool to make comic book movies, and comic book movies were generally camp.
Yeah.
I mean, like you know, there's definitely a plucky gee-whiz charm about the Rocketeer and
Absolutely.
the Shadow. You know,
but it's about the delivery as well.
Right.
Like, if an actor can deliver a cheesy line in a way that feels genuine as a outcome of having lived in a certain era, and this is how people talk, and you know, if you can sell me that, then I will. Also, Timothy Dalton doesn't miss a beat in the Rocketeer.
Well, also the Rocketeer. First of all, props to Joe Johnston there, because he is, you know, he's a director who's done so many films that I loved in my childhood. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah. You know, and also you know, Captain America. He directed, also a great movie. And I just think that Jumanji says,
oh, that was his as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also, and I think that possibly he had the thankless task of taking on Jurassic Park 3 after Spielberg had made 2 and 1.
Or 1 and 2.
1 and 2. No, I was going to say that he made 2 Jurassic Park movies, but then
I see.
I kind of like went back on myself. I don't know why. Anyway, but yeah, so you've got Joe Johnston in there, but you've also got a great script. You know, like the whole thing about you know, this guy's being fitted for a pine overcoat. I love that.
Yeah.
That kind of those 40s like lines. He's gonna punch me in my kiss and you're gonna let him walk. Like, I love that stuff.
And it's delivered so well.
It's delivered so well, but it's also so smart, because you can imagine Cary Grant saying that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
so it feels like this just missed it tonally. Like, it was
completely.
It missed
it on a lot of
levels. I'm saying that like the delivery of those lines tonally, the tone of the line was not quite right. By the way, I've written here, which is the two next ones. Such an idiot. I don't know how to take notes properly, but what I've written is best acting in movie is red-faced cop who blows a whistle. There's a scene where he's escaped, from the bad guy. We're doing this in chronological order. We are doing it quite well. And he's jumping from taxi to taxi. By the way, he gets into the taxi. He meets a taxi driver, and he pays him as Kit Walker, like in diamonds, lots and lots of money to follow him around all day. And
by the way,
whatever.
it's Aguado from Ace Ventura. Yeah,
and he's he's like, my name's Al, which all of the sidekicks.
No. He says,
Al.
you can
Al.
call me Al.
You can call me Al. Sorry.
Which I believe is a reference
to the song.
Yeah, possibly.
Dear oh dear.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and the Phantom gets in the car, and he says, drive, and he's like, take my money, whatever you want,
because now he's in his suit.
Right, he's now in he's in the Phantom suit, and he goes, don't worry, I'm a friend of Kit Walker's, and it's like, this suit isn't even sticking to his face properly in the way that it looks
also
like
it's
him.
wider. I hate those disguises. Like Robin's disguise, for example, is the same thing. It's just a black mask over his eyes, but you can tell who it is.
Exactly.
And Kit Walker definitely. I mean, anybody who's been, Kristy Swanson at the very end of the movie says, "Oh, I know who you are, Kit," and it's like, well done.
No, but also, they just had that conversation. We'll get to the end of the movie.
Oh,
just come back to this, right?
Yeah.
So he's jumping. He gets out of the cab because policemen start chasing him. So that whole thing with Al, pointless. And he jumps from car to car to car to car.
Yep.
Obviously. And,
nice stunt work from Billy Zane, stuntman.
Yeah, which is hidden, not at all.
Yeah.
And there's a shot of a cop who's like basically signaling to other cops, get that guy who's on the, and he sells it. His face goes red, his cheeks puff out as he blows on the whistle. The whistle is loud. His eyes are intense. His eyebrows have gone crazy, right? That guy, fucking Oscar. That's all I'm saying, right? And then underneath this, which is why I started laughing, because at least I don't know, I've just written, best acting is red-faced cop who blows a whistle, and then there's a scene where he goes into the zoo, and he climbs over the wall, and I've just written, but. Because all we see is Billy Zane's butt climbing over a wall.
Lit.
Just.
What happens when you shine a light on tights? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to answer the question, just leave it there. Apparently, some movie trivia is that in that scene in the zoo, the Phantom was actually meant to wrestle a lion.
I did not realize that.
They didn't film it. And the reason that I told you this pointless piece of trivia is because they shouldn't have shot that whole section. That whole thing was as pointless as him wrestling a lion.
Right, but I did sort of go, that's interesting, because at one point he sort of strokes a tiger, and it looks like a real tiger, and he's in the room with a real tiger.
Right, yeah, no, but they don't use it to any kind of effect later on.
No sense whatsoever.
There's this thing, they're trying to sell the idea that he's lived in the jungle and he can, talk to and comfort animals. That in no way is this referenced at any point in a way that can help him in the movie.
No, not at all. But I must point out though that even though we can see the stunt people all the time, and it's it's rather funny. They did do all that stuff for real.
Yeah, there's a lot of practical stuff.
Like, it's not a CG tiger.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a real tiger. It's not a puppet, it's a real tiger. And also all the stuff in the, climbing out of the plane, the people actually doing that.
Do you know what you said that made me really laugh during that section?
What?
Is you said, oh, that's a real tiger, not like a cat that they've put in perspective and painted to look like a tiger. I'm like, of course it's a tiger.
No, obviously.
No, I know you were like, but like, it was just the way that you said it, like, so genuinely, like, huh.
No, because at this point in the movie, I wouldn't have put it fucking past them.
Right. It's so bad. Anyway, sorry. No, but watch the movie.
Yeah, definitely watch the movie. This is a recommendation.
You should definitely watch this movie.
Get drunk.
Get high, whatever.
Yeah.
I also put a question mark at the end of that one. Phantom was meant to wrestle a lion?
Okay, then.
What have you got?
What have I got? Okay, Trivia Corner.
Cool.
Yeah, this...
Trivia Corner.
Trivia Corner. I would say that that this is a bullet dodged because originally Bruce Campbell was cast. or was almost cast.
Really?
Yeah. Now, you can't exactly say that Bruce Campbell has...
You have to tell people who Bruce Campbell is.
Campbell
I know, but
is,
you know.
Bruce Campbell is Sam Raimi's Robert De Niro, I guess. Sam Raimi, director of Evil Dead, X-Men. No, not X-Men. Sam Raimi, director of Evil Dead, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2.
Drag Me to Hell,
3.
which was going to be the first movie we were going to review, but that didn't happen. I would have loved to have done that.
Amazing.
We'll do it next time. So Bruce Campbell is his muse. And he liked to torture him and throw blood at him and all sorts of things like that. I wouldn't say that Bruce Campbell has had the most sort of movie star career. I think he's probably, if you listen to him in interviews, he sounds like he's happy with the cult things that he's done. But I think that in general, he probably would have been happy to have avoided this mess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bullet dodged. That's a good one. I didn't know that.
Yep. There you go, Bruce Campbell.
Lovely. Could we talk for a second about some of the... I don't know if you have anything before this, but... Okay, so Xander Drax finds the second skull.
By the way, it's Treat Williams.
Williams.
Who's also in Stephen Sommers' Deep Rising.
Yep.
And is quite a charismatic actor.
He is.
He's... having an absolute ball here. That is obvious. Like, he knows that this is complete and utter rubbish.
Bollocks, yeah.
And he is enjoying himself.
He's selling a lot of his lines.
I think he's also wearing teeth.
Is he?
It looks like he's wearing teeth. That was the first question I wrote down was, is Treat Williams wearing teeth?
Amazing. He's really good, but I was wondering, there's a scene... Okay, so... Next part of the movie before they capture Kit Walker, right? But we're just going back a bit, and then we'll come back to the present. Is
I don't think anybody cares.
No one, not at all.
all
No, no one who's listening.
Yes.
So
indeed.
basically, you've got the two. There are 3 skulls. Later revealed to be 4 to no consequence, and
or set up
whatsoever, just thrown away. In pirate language, whatever.
Although the original teaser poster was the Phantom punching the camera.
Yeah.
You can see the skull
There's
ring
a skull
on it.
No,
that's the poster that says "Slam Evil" on it.
It's very, very clear that he's wearing a skull ring.
Right.
I'm just saying, in the lore of the movie, it's not mentioned. Anyway,
Right.
So he finds the second skull in a museum. The skull very conveniently points on a map where he needs to go, which Johnny pointed out.
Yeah, so basically he puts the 2 skulls that he's already collected together, and it shoots out this beam of green light, which it's green, right?
Green, blue, who gives a shit?
Well, it's either green or red, I can't remember. Anyway, I think it's green.
Okay.
Oh, it's usually green. There we go. Shadow reference.
Dum-dum-dum.
Yeah, the great Ian McKellen there. It shoots out. Now, it's supposed to point the way to the 3rd skull, and the beam of light finds a map that is... on a map of the world that is on the wall.
Now, it makes sense that it would be on the wall. It is a museum.
It is a museum. However,
of world history.
What if you put those 2 skulls together and you would say at home or in the jungle or in the toilet or something like that, and there are no maps to be found? What would it point to?
Maybe they just wouldn't work, or maybe they'd draw a map.
Or maybe it would be like, like a computer error message, and it would say "no map detected."
Right, exactly. Please try again later.
Yeah.
So, what was I saying about this? So he's having this. We were talking about Treat Williams and how he's like, getting the actor. He just completely went off the rails there with that. And he's in this museum scene, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, he must have gotten this script, and he must have been like, this is bollocks, I'm going for it. Because, he's going, magnificent, unbelievable, amazing. And he's, just throwing out these words, just every, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. And it's so bad. But, he's going for it. And it's like, all right, well, give him props, he's doing it.
He must have thought to himself, I'm getting offered all of these, Oscar-worthy roles and stuff like that. I just want to have a good time.
Deep Impact, though. Deep Rising.
Deep Rising.
Deep Impact's a good movie. But Deep Rising, I remember as being solidly shit as well.
Yeah. I think so. I don't remember it very well. Okay, that's also the last time I watched that was probably on DVD in England. Yeah. DVD. When it was new.
Yeah.
Remember when DVD was the next best thing?
Yeah,
Oh my
but
God.
like, Blu-ray's the thing now, so forget about DVD.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was the next bit is that Drax kidnaps Diana, Kristy Swanson.
Kristy Swanson,
They are in a cab, and
Oh my
suddenly
God.
Catherine Zeta-Jones has some sort of...
I can't remember what she says to her.
She says,
but
"Don't you care about anything?"
she
And
looks like
that's
she's like,
enough.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, and then
why
that's
are you
enough.
like this?
Right, and then that's enough to make Catherine Zeta-Jones go, "What is wrong with me?" Like she
She sort of turns around like she's butthurt.
she's
She's like
pouting. She's
maybe
like,
it was mean to me.
it's almost like you would when a villain has a turnaround like that and a change of heart, you want there to be some kind of stake in it for them. Not that someone goes, "You're mean. Do you know that?" And then they're like, "Oh man, I am mean. I don't want to be mean." What did you think you were doing shooting all these people? Also, another thing about Catherine Zeta-Jones' character that she brags about, which has zero consequence later on in the movie. So, the Phantom comes in to rescue Diana from her. There's a room full of half-naked women who are all finished taking showers. And he goes, "All right, everybody put your hands up." "Oh, ladies, apologize for my error," right? And he
Right.
closes the door. And then he comes in and whatever.
He goes down the
He
laundry
goes down
chute,
the laundry chute.
lands very awkwardly.
Yeah,
with
in
his
his-
hands
in
on
his-
his hips.
Exactly. With his fists and on his hips, whatever. And then I don't remember what prompts it, but Catherine Zeta-Jones says, "All of my pilots are women." And he says, "Interesting." And that's the last we hear of it for the rest of the film. So, so she looks very hurt in that scene in the car.
Right.
And then, they get to the sort of place where it pointed on the map that the skulls are. And what the fuck is with this underground pirate lair that's like some kind of hidden whatever volcano? Not quite sure.
I
It's
don't.
Not even
I'm not sure when I stopped paying attention, but I don't remember there being a volcano
until the very end.
Yeah.
Anyway, this thing goes
like-
off the
it's like
rails.
they were
Watch this movie.
halfway
We're not
through-
making it up.
It's like they were halfway through shooting it, and they were like, "Oh, you know what? This whole thing should be a volcano."
Yes. It's like love it, print, take it to the. So
Check the gate.
So, suddenly Catherine Zeta-Jones doesn't like the fact that Kristy Swanson's being manhandled by the other characters, and she punches one of those. She goes, "I think us girls should stick together. You're on our side now because I called you mean." Basically, bollocks.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's also this whole thing. If we're going into VFX corner now,
VFX corner.
I want to talk about reflections. Okay. There's a misconception with VFX that what you need to do in order to create a reflection in a window is to just take the actor and just duplicate him and lower his opacity. But what you're getting is a double image, right? We're seeing the same side of the character's face. We should be seeing a reflection of the character's face. And it's something that you could shoot separately on a green screen or something, just something to have that
On a
footage
pane of glass, even.
on a pane of glass, right? And just film they could have had a pane of glass there for the reflection. They ghosted. They basically took the footage of Treat Williams and they duplicated it and put it underneath his layer, which is not how it worked back then. Somehow they did. I'm sure it was a lot of hard work, but I don't know. It looks really bad. And
Yeah.
then
But also, it's that you have that awful phenomenon where you've got several different kinds of blue screen or green screen or whatever it is, and then the superhero's costume keeps changing color.
because of
Yeah.
Oh boy. And then Sang Sang is not his name, the bad guy, the pirate. Suddenly pirates are a thing. What was his name? Kabai Sang or
Kabai Sang,
Kabai
yeah.
Sang. And he's driving home how evil he is, in his exposition. He's like, "Kabal Sang, I am the descendant of the original Sang, who was also named Kabal Sang, who is much more evil than I am."
They called him evil.
They called him I'm the descendant of the evil Sang Sang, right?
Right.
I'm just gonna call him Sang Sang. I can't be bothered to say his name wrong.
The great Kabai Sang was played by Kerry. Okay, if I get this wrong, then I'm okay.
Boy.
Kerry Hiroyuki Tagawa.
Tagawa.
Okay, so the thing is that, like, he's one of those actors that's like him out of that thing.
Right, that guy in that movie.
Yeah, that you recognize that you don't necessarily remember from where or what his name is. But he was in License to Kill. He was the head of the Hong Kong narcotics team that captures Timothy Dalton. And they're also going after Sanchez. He's also in the original Mortal Kombat from 1985.
I remember,
and he also looks like he's having a great time hamming this shit up.
Yeah, he does, but
the dialogue is just awful.
So bad. And then also, how does he deliver that line where he says to the mob boss who's double-crossed Drax, and he goes, right? Racist. And, you know, he sort of says something along the lines of, what did you just say to him? And he says, oh, it means fire the cannon in evil pirate language or something like that. Like, he doesn't actually say that, but he says in pirate language or pirate.
So this is where the editor was asleep on the job.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, this guy's standing in place. He's pointing a gun at him. This other guy comes up and loads the cannon and then sets the cannon on fire and carefully aims it at this guy. And there's all these sort of, like, very tense shots of, like, oh, God, he's going to fire a cannon. Move aside. A cannon fires in a straight line.
It's like Prometheus. Like Charlize Theron.
Exactly.
Move to the side. Stop running in a straight line.
Exactly. Run diagonally and this will be solved.
Right.
Yeah. And then Xander Drax, spelling out his name for absolutely no fucking reason. That happens.
Yep.
I've never understood something. First of all, exposition fourth skull comes in at this point in the movie. Right. This is 20 minutes before the end. And then the shadow, again, the Phantom jumps into action. Did you notice that he crosses his arms and starts shooting people? He's got his guns. He could easily just point them, spread out his arms in either direction and start shooting people. How does it make more sense for people in movies to cross their arms to,
I don't
to
know,
shoot
but
people?
again, the
Arnold
Shadow...
Schwarzenegger does it too.
The Shadow actually does it the other way around. So he'll reach with his right hand to his left gun and his left hand to his right gun, and he will pull them out and then, point them like to the sides, like, normally.
Well, I mean, they're facing, like, it's very hard to pull out.
Right.
I mean, he could go like this. Yeah, he
could go like that. But
the thing is that they're on his
way.
but they're on his gun belt, if I recall correctly. So they are facing outwards, and it's aesthetic. So it's like this is how his costume is built. We could argue that his costume is built poorly, right?
No, but it's also dynamic. I mean, it
and
works.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it looks.
But
cool.
He's not crossing his arms to shoot. So it makes, and I remember in True Lies, which in no way takes itself seriously, where he's got like the two Uzis and Arnold Schwarzenegger is like and crossing his arms and like killing people. And I was watching this and I was like, I noticed, and this is another editing thing. The Shadow is the Phantom. What is wrong with me? I need to go to bed. I really want to watch the movie.
Wanted it to be the Shadow.
I really did. The Phantom is like pointing at these two guys, and he's like, I could shoot these guys like this. Or I could shoot these guys like this, and he crosses his arms. It's really weird.
Hey, look how cool I am.
Question for you.
Yes.
This is how it's written here. Russian pirates?
Okay, so here's a phenomenon that's the second time I've said phenomenon. I'd never used the word phenomenon, but I've said it twice in the last 20 minutes. Okay, first of all, suddenly, out of nowhere, from the back of the set, and it's obvious that it's a set. Sometimes you see, like, Raiders of the Lost Ark, they go from, like, location to set, and it's seamless. In this movie, I actually said to you, hey, so we're back on the Paramount backlot.
Yeah. Exactly.
So anyway, from the back of the set, these pirates come out wearing
Russian hats.
Russian hats for some reason, and it made me think of all those movies where you have those big crowds and the bad guys fighting, and the bad guy is waiting for the good guy to be finished fighting the other bad guys, and then comes in.
Actually, a really great example of that is in The Last Jedi. When they're fighting in the throne room, there's a lot of like stuntmen just hanging around waiting for them to finish their flourishing.
Right.
But like, look, I'm not saying that there are tons of movies that are like, you said this. Were they waiting back there the whole time and they decided to come out now? Were they having a coffee break or something? It's like, playing backgammon in the back room. Just like, what is going on out there? And so they come out,
put on our Russian hats,
and then as soon as they defeat all They defeat all the Russian pirates. And
Do they though?
I don't remember how that's. I don't remember how that's
the
resolved.
Russian
actually.
pirates come out, and then it just cuts to the next scene. As if
it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't remember how they resolve this.
Am I blocking things out already?
I think you were writing on your phone, but like,
okay.
I think what happened. So I think that they fired something at them, like or a cannon or whatever it was.
They sort of like they close a portcullis
after they're
them.
defeated.
Okay.
The portcullis is closed. This is what I was going to say. Is after there's no more action going on and it's all quiet, they go, you know what, we better close this. And it's like, what are you doing before they come? And then there's just a lot of janky CG skulls flying about, and
right?
Lasers.
So, the thing is that, I said to Sai that, I thought that the skulls were still a better MacGuffin than the crystal skull.
Absolutely.
And I like the iconography. I like the iconography of it.
Yeah.
I think that his suit is probably the worst thing that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got some great props, some great sets. The other costumes aside from his suit,
they're okay.
And I will always love that 40s set superhero movie aesthetic. You don't see it very much.
That's what I was saying, is that the charm of the Rocketeer and the Shadow, that they are in that 40s like vibe.
Right.
But just like one more visit to VFX Corner.
VFX Corner.
Terrible explosion. When he jumps into the water at the end, he's defeated the bad guys, whatever, and he jumps into the water and there's like an explosion.
Yeah.
And it just looks so... It's not composited well at all. The colours don't match. It looks really janky. It looks really bad. And then there's like a shot of him under the water holding onto a chain, being pulled by a torpedo to escape from what is suddenly revealed to be a volcano.
Yeah.
And then when that volcano erupts and explodes, there's like bits of mountain flying off the side, and it just looks like really, really bad CG. Now, here's the thing, is that I don't like... When I'm giving feedback about something, right, or I'm critiquing something, I like to be very sort of like fair and whatever, but I feel like in this sort of forum about a movie that's this old, no one's going to do anything about it. I don't think anyone who made it is going to listen, and if they do, I don't think they're going to disagree. I think it's fair to say the VFX could have been just so much better handled, and
yeah,
it's just really bad. I don't feel bad.
I don't think that this is a
trashing it.
particularly beloved movie.
No, I don't think so. I don't think we're getting any death threats for this.
No, but I think that there's possibly some love for it. Maybe along the same lines of the way we remember it, just because it was of its time and
of your childhood.
Of my childhood, we grew up watching it. So I bought it on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And I remember Sai saying to me, Don't do that.
Do you regret buying
terrible.
it on Blu-ray?
I don't regret buying it on Blu-ray, actually, because it completes that trilogy of movies. It's not. It's the black sheep of the three, and it's not very good. But there are things about it that I enjoy. I mean, like I said, I enjoy the design. I enjoy the sets. The cinematography is gorgeous. There's a lot of like really nice jungle, scenery and whatever. The microscope scene's cool. That's pretty.
That is
evil.
pretty cool. Pretty evil.
Yeah. So Drax brings in a guy. It's kind of random. Okay, it's a guy that
supposedly leaked his secrets to another person during an exposition scene.
Or that there's a potential for him to reveal his... Because he's the only one that's supposed to know that he's been looking up,
occult
books and about these skulls in the library or whatever. It's very...
It's a bit wishy-washy.
It's a bit wishy-washy. It's precarious to say the least. So you see him before this guy comes into his office. You see Drax turning the focus wheel on the microscope, and you see knives come out of the top. And then you've got one of those scenes. The audience knows what's going to happen, but the character doesn't, and it's very suspenseful. And the guy comes in and he says, like, "Could you have a look at something? Could you have a look at my microscope for me?" Also, a little bit
sus.
But he gets him to do it, and he says, "I can't see anything." So he says,
"Just turn the focus knob."
Just turn the focus knob. So he turns the focus knob, and what he can see through the microscope is a note that says "liar," and then you hear the
And then he screams, and then Drax like takes his glasses, which he had held for him, in order to look through the microscope, and he very nastily goes, "I guess you're not gonna need these anymore," and he breaks them, which I thought was like a baller move, man.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So that's kind of cool. I mean, that's probably something that I would have found cool when I was
I remember finding it
when I was a 12, 13-year-old kid.
I remember finding a lot of stuff about this movie cool. By the way, we have seen The Rocketeer and The Shadow in our adulthood. Like, we have seen it. I've watched it a couple years ago. They do really...
They do
hold up.
The Shadow less so. If I had to rate them, I'd say Rocketeer, Shadow, this, if it has to be on there.
Ooh, problem.
What?
So the question I was going to ask you was, if you had to take one of these to a desert island,
Rocketeer.
Yeah, right, Rocketeer, and I might say The Shadow. So here's the thing,
Judas.
I love the Rocketeer. It's one of my favorite characters. Love it.
I would say it's up there. I mean,
but
a lot of people ask me about my favorite movie, and I've probably got like hundreds.
You do.
It's one of those. Yeah.
And the thing about The Shadow is just like the lore and his powers and what he can do, and like it's very cool, and I really like how this is something that is very potentially like earth threatening that he stops. Right. And it's like there's some also Alec Baldwin is very believable and amazing as this tortured guy who's like trying to make up for past sins, of which there are many. And
so
he
doesn't get enough credit.
Who, Alec Baldwin?
Because he started out his career as a matinee idol.
Yeah.
But he's also an incredibly talented actor. He played bad guys as well. Like flawed, morally dubious characters. And he's also a very talented comedian and impressionist.
Why do you say he doesn't get enough credit? I think a lot of people know what he's about. I think he fell out of favor. Like there was a period of time where he wasn't doing much. Like, what was he in Thomas the Tank Engine? He was the Fat Controller or something. But like he then did Jack Donaghy, and he was so no. But that's where most people are like, oh right, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah,
and then he's
but
like,
it took a while, and but he was also on SNL. He did a lot of really.
He was fantastic.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff was overshadowed by some of the tabloid shit that was going on with him. He was yelling at reporters. He left a message for his daughter that was, that was angry or whatever. And, honestly, I've got a 3.5-year-old and I've yelled at him and said things like probably not at that level.
I don't think it's at that level at all.
Of course not.
Like
but I'm saying like, there's the, family squabbles should be family squabbles.
All of this stuff should be separate from the art that the guy makes.
Right.
Like,
I don't think it's anybody else's business, and it borders on abusive. But like, if you watch the Alec Baldwin roast, she gives as good as she gets. 100%. Absolutely, yeah.
Wow, we went off the rails with that one. So it was just a question about which movie you'd like to watch over and over again for the rest of your life.
He's very watchable. Excellent superhero, but also he's a superhero with a dark side.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The Rocketeer is brilliantly made, and he's a great character. And notice how we've just left the Phantom behind in the dust. But like
I think it did it to itself.
Yeah. And basically it's like the costume and the way that his powers work, just the whole thing, and the seeing his footsteps in the rain, and the thing
We're talking about the shadow now, by the way.
Yeah, he can't hide his shadow. It's like, it's brilliant. I would take that one with me, just because.
Also the voice.
Yeah, the voice.
The shadow.
And the laugh. His laugh.
Yeah.
It's so well done. The whole movie. I want to watch it again. Do you have any closing thoughts? Because I feel like we're
closing
towards the end.
Yeah, there was another piece of trivia here.
Trivia corner.
So a few years after, I believe after Inner Space. So Jeffrey Boehm, who wrote Inner Space, was working on a treatment for the Phantom with Joe Dante. Joe Dante was going to direct it.
Really? For those who don't know who Joe Dante is.
Joe Dante is the esteemed director of Gremlins, Gremlins 2, Inner Space, obviously. Also, Matinee, which is a great movie. A lot of people haven't seen it, but do watch it. It's a lot of fun, especially if you're a cinephile.
Johnny's recommendations.
Johnny's recommendations, indeed. So that's a great movie. And also Explorers, which I haven't actually seen yet. I didn't get it. We didn't get it in England for some reason, or maybe we did and I missed it. But so I haven't seen that one yet. But I just bought the Shout Factory Blu-ray, so yay, I'm gonna get on that. Yeah, new Joe Dante film to discover. That's really cool. But anyway,
it's like finding a penny in your pocket.
Absolutely. But yeah, and so basically, Joe Dante, if you know anything about his style, is that he's an incredibly tongue-in-cheek director. There is absolutely no film of his that I've seen that is in any way taken seriously.
Yeah.
And it works. It works that he's got a very strong grip and control over tone. So The Phantom was originally written to be comedic, and when Simon Wincer took over, he played it straight.
Made everybody wince.
I believe
Simon Wincer, get it, wince. Never mind.
I believe that is the crux of the problem here. Is that it probably shouldn't either go camp 100%. Or don't.
It's not quite sure what it wants to be.
Right. It's very confused.
I think the to sum up, the answer to the question, should people watch The Phantom?
I would say no. I wouldn't. Just don't do it.
Yourself.
You know what? Do it. Do it if you want to. It's fun. It's fun.
If you're curious,
if you like watching movies like The Room. It's probably not even on the...
It's not on that level. It's not... Look, we're saying all these bad things about it. It's not like that. It's just not something that I would recommend if you have other things to watch. Like, if you're looking for something and you're like, oh, yes, I and Johnny recommended this movie and, maybe I'll give it a try. It's your funeral.
Well, it's not... I wouldn't call it a recommended. I'd say that, like, if you saw it as a kid and it holds nostalgia factor, Well, it could go one of two ways, really. It could either really ruin your memories of it.
Or you'll be like, yep, this is what I remember.
Oh, yeah. Or you'll be like, yep, this is what I remember. And, you'll end up watching a bad movie that's fun for its badness.
I feel this is bad. I feel this is not working because we can't just say, watch it, don't watch it, watch it, don't watch it. What do you recommend people should watch? Like, The Rocketeer or The Shadow? Like, that's...
Wait, seriously? Like, is that what this has come to? Because we weren't even talking about... Okay, I would say watch The Rocketeer and then watch The Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And then just stop watching things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't watch any more movies.
Well, this has been fun.
Yeah, it has. I want to do this again.
Yes, we should do this again. Let's pick something that's...
a little less shady. Shoddy?
I don't know. Maybe we could choose something that's a little bit more popular yet polarizing.
Interesting. You'll have to think about that one.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, you have been
Johnny Gross,
and I have been Simon Gross or Sai. Thank you very much for coming to talk to me. This is fun. I like watching films with you.
Oh, I like watching films with you too.
I like talking about films.
I like talking about them too.
Let's go make out.
I gotta go, Phil.
Bye. What's our seat number?